today's the big day.
The day you've all been waiting for.
They probably haven't been waiting for it, but we've been waiting for it.
Okay, we've been waiting for it. We are installing this bad boy in our bathroom, a Nature's Head composting toilet.
Yay! So as you know, we've had some issues with black tank sink in the past. We took care of that mostly with the Geo method.
With the Geo method. We have a video about that, by the way.
Yep. But we've always known we wanted to go towards the composting toilet because we plan on doing a lot of boondocking, and the extra tank space by combining the black and gray tank will be critical.
So my folks are here to give us a hand, and let's hope this goes well.
Yep.
Let's get at it. So everything this toilet comes with, the manual of course, brackets to secure to the ground, some electrical wire. This is for the exhaust hose to fit into so we can actually clamp it to something and maybe put like a mesh wire on the end of it so bugs and all critters don't get in. And these are things that we picked up at Home Depot. These are drain caps for the old sewer connection at the bottom of our old toilet. So that's what it comes with, everything we need. The first thing we do is shut off the water to the old toilet. Done. Second thing we do is drain all the water that's currently in the toilet and in the line since I shut it off. Now to remove the toilet. To collect any water, put a towel down. I'm just unscrewing the water connection. Here we go. It's off.
Okay, that's good.
And if you look down here,
I've taken off this little cap, and we just need a wrench to unscrew these bolts here,
and we should be good to go with this old toilet. Black tank's pretty full though.
Oh, we didn't empty it. I thought we were supposed to empty it. Ooh, that's stinky.
Okay, so we took the toilet out and we're looking here at the drain down to the black tank. And this we're not going to take off. We're going to leave this on, which means we'll need a piece of plywood, probably a ½ inch, maybe a little bit more, to fit over this with just a hole in the plywood itself so the next toilet fits flush on top. We have this 3-inch test drain plug that fits right down in the old tank, and you just use the swing nut to tighten it, and here we go. There we go. A sealed old black tank sewer connection. Alright, so we got the old toilet out. We cleaned underneath the toilet because this was really grimy. So now we have to figure out what we're going to do with this old water line that's coming in. We might just cut it off here. We're going to try a couple things and see what we can come up with. Alright, so we got the easy part done. We got the toilet removed. Now we have to try to figure out where a 12 volt, a constant 12 volt source is so we can run our exhaust fan. So if you look back here, we can see some wires running behind this cabinet that we think goes directly into the back of the refrigerator, which we can access from the outside, which would make all this access all that much easier. We're not sure exactly where the ground is, where the hot wires are, so we need to go test that out first and see what we can figure out. While we've been poking around in here, testing out different wires, I think we found a constant 12 volt.
There it goes.
Constant 12 volt source. Alright, we found our constant 12 volt source.
So what's next?
Yeah, what's next? Running some wire from the composting toilet area here to our bay, accessible bay behind our Dometic refrigerator. So from the outside bay behind the refrigerator, we stuck a little wire through a little tiny hole that actually comes right here into the bathroom. So what we're doing now is we're going to take our electrical wire, electrical tape it to this wire and then pull it through so we have access to it from the outside so we can connect it to our constant 12-volt source. This is working pretty well. Bingo!
Have wire!
All right. So this wire goes right back to our toilet.
Changing all of our lights.
All right, there we go. The other one, and we're gonna see if I'm off right now.
Okay, so we have all the wiring through, did all of our crimping. We tested using a multimeter. Everything looks to be okay. Now we're going to connect the fan here, the exhaust fan, and see if it works. Actually, I'm not. I'm not seeing anything work. The fan is working. However, we discovered a little problem before off camera. Apparently we had the fan itself screwed in a little bit too tight to the toilet itself. So that prevented the fan from actually turning. So the first time we tried this, it was not working. So we took this entire apparatus off, loosened the fan a little bit. This was after some fussing around with it for 5-10 minutes. So what we found is we had to leave the fan itself unscrewed a little bit, so it's just a tiny bit loose, but it's still secured to the toilet itself. Then we put this top piece on, and it works perfectly. So just leave the screws a little bit loose. At least that's what we had to do, and it works just fine. Okay, so we got the electrical problem solved. Now we are focusing on the exhaust hose. So what we're thinking is, the toilet's going to be about here. This is our wheel well. So if we simply run the exhaust hose out this way and then down, we can leak the fumes from the compost straight down into our wheel well. It's a really short run, maybe just a couple of feet, and that should give us exactly what we need. Let's get to drilling.
Hands on.
So the thing dropped down here?
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine, yeah.
That's too much to get it back in. We in business.
So what we got here from Home Depot is an 18-inch tabletop round here. So this is what we're going to use to mount to the floor, and then the toilet will mount on top of this. We measured out exactly where the current drain plug is in the floor inside the Airstream. So we'll simply cut this part out, fit this on to the floor. The drain plug will be flush, maybe a little bit below the wood, which it needs to be below and certainly not above. And then the toilet will fit right on top of it. So let's get to drilling. Got a hole in the wood. Let's see if it fits. Look at that.
That was like it was made for it.
Fits perfect.
Whoop whoop.
Maybe I need to become a woodworker. Hello.
Hello, what are you doing?
We are getting this fitting on so we could vent the composting toilet to the outside.
Woohoo! So we had the piece that came from Nature's Head, and you saw us, Steve, drill the hole through the wheel well from the inside, so that fit in. And then he also drilled 2 holes for some bolts, right? And that's what you're tightening now?
Yep. Okay, I'll
Put
do the
some-
rears. Right, hold on.
And he put some silicone
Rear's good. Go ahead.
on the inside of that plate, so it should be nice and sealed to the top of the wheel well.
Okay, cool. Have some glue and a little pipe here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna fit this onto the external, yes, the external piece of our ventilation system, like this. I just need to glue that in place. We're gonna hook this on like that, and it's gonna come out like this and into our composting toilet. Man, that's good. So for the filter on the end of this, so we don't get critters and rodents, we're actually going to use some nylon.
Maybe a picture. There you go.
So when we took the old toilet out, you see we have our old water fitting here. What we're going to do is we're going to keep this water fitting out to about here. I'm going to cut this off at this point. I'm going to put on this clamp and then put on a plug. So we still have the fitting here for whatever reason we in the future we might want water here, or the next owner of this Airstream might want water here, and they'll have a convenient hookup right here. So we won't take this out. We'll just cut it here and plug it up at this source. Cool. Let's go fit the toilet. So as you can see, we have the brackets down, and our wooden plate there is down as well and screwed into place. Oh, look at that. Break that in here. Throw in washers. Twelve volt is in.
Can you feel it?
I can. It's all on. In.
Yay! Want to say something?
Well, we had some help. Some tools, some hardware, some maybe some electrical know-how, but we got the entire system installed in less than a day. We started at about 8 this morning, maybe a little bit after. And what is it now? About 3 o'clock?
Something like that.
Something like that.
How many trips to the hardware store?
2 trips to the hardware store.
No, not quite. 2 planned trips to the hardware store plus 1 unplanned trip.
Yes, so 3 trips to the hardware store, 2 to Home Depot, 1 to Ace. But overall, not bad. Everything is good to go. We have 12 volt, constant 12 volt from the refrigerator access panel in the back, and a ventilated hose running through this cabinetry and down into the wheel well. So all in all, I'd say we did a pretty good job. So it's the morning after the install.
Because the install only took 1 day.
1 day, 7-8 hours, something like that. 3 trips to the hardware store.
2 planned.
2 planned, yes. We got a couple paintbrushes and a screw or 2 the last one, so the last trip wasn't all that big of a deal. Just some finishing touches
That we've forgotten.
that we had to put in place. So yeah, overall it was a lot easier than we thought. We did have some help. My folks were down here. They had some tools that we did not have, so that certainly helped.
Tools and experience. So
Yeah.
I think if we had done it ourselves, it probably would have been at least a 2-day project. But with Steve's dad there to help us and with all of his tools, it became a 1-day project.
1 day, yep. So it was, fairly straightforward. The first thing we did is remove the old toilet. We plugged the drain with a 3-inch test drain plug. Then we started to figure out the electrical. We were fairly close to the refrigerator, and we know that the refrigerator has constant 12 volt power. So we looked at some cables that are already run behind the cabinet in the bathroom that already ran straight to the access panel behind the refrigerator. So that was pretty easy. We just ran some wire and tapped into the constant 12-volt source there.
What we did have to do though is, in order to see those wires underneath the cabinet in the bathroom, there was a shelf in the way, and that shelf was constructed in such a way that it wasn't supposed to come out. And so we had to break a few brackets and some staples to get that shelf out. But
break the shelf.
Yes.
Yeah.
But not completely, because we did figure out how to reinstall the shelf now so that we can easily take it in and out and have access to that area in case we need to clean filters or anything like that. So I think we actually did a better job with our mod than what was already there.
Yeah, the shelf in the bathroom now just kind of sits on top of 2 brackets and is easily removable if we ever have to get access to the exhaust hose.
Yes.
And that's the next thing we did after we figured out the power. We ran the exhaust hose through the cabinetry in the bathroom and out down the wheel well. We just drilled a couple holes in the wheel well itself, right through the plastic tire cover, and it worked really well that way. We used a little piece that came with the Nature's Head composting toilet, which made the fitting fit really nicely and flush on the underside of the wheel well.
Yes, which I thought was very important. We don't have to worry about tires rubbing or when we're turning or any problems with that.
Yep. Once that was done, we had a little round. It was almost like a cutting board from a tabletop
18-inch.
From Home Depot, and that's what we used to mount the composting toilet on top of. So we just cut a hole in that piece of wood that fit the drain plug. We sat the piece of wood down so everything is completely level on top of that piece of wood. We mounted the composting toilet on top of that. We painted the wood white, and I think it looks pretty darn good.
Yes, and in addition, since we were more okay with screwing into our floors than we've seen in some of the other videos, we actually attached that piece of wood to the floor of the Airstream, so it's not going anywhere. We don't have to worry about anything.
We put 3 screws right straight down through that piece of wood and into the floor itself of the Airstream. So yeah, like she said, it's not going anywhere. It's incredibly secure.
And it looks really nicely done, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, the round gives it a nice little aesthetic look.
Yes.
I think that's
it.
That's pretty much it.
We like it. I think we're gonna need to get a stool for some of us who are a little shorter.
Height challenged.
It is taller than most toilets, so if you are short like me, I'm 5'4", you may have a hard time sitting on it and having your feet on the ground. And so I think Nikki Wynn also had a stool.
I think they did,
yeah. So I think that won't be a purchase we get today. But otherwise, things are good. Dogs heard something in the background.
Dogs heard something, yeah. So, yeah, that's it. Went pretty well. So far, we're happy. We'll probably film a follow-up of how we really liked the composting toilet in another couple months or so.
Yeah, we will, because we've had a few people on Instagram comment that they'd love to hear what we think. So we will definitely be doing a follow-up video once we've lived with it for a while and done our first dump and everything like that.
But let me tell you, no black tank is already coming back to us in spades. There's no smell.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Now we have almost double the gray tank storage.
So yeah, pretty happy.
Yep, that's it.
So thanks so much for watching. Let us know if you have any questions in the comments below. And if you like what you see, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys. Bye. So, that went pretty well. What's out there, Katie? That's just a person. It's just a person, Katie. She's holding something.
Penny's being adventurous. She was hiding all day yesterday.